Ever wanted to set up a home gym? Well, stick around. We may have something for you. Hey, I'm Mike.
And I'm Toying.
Welcome to another episode of 40 Plus Fit, the podcast that goes beyond the fads and delves into the science behind sustainable weight loss and fitness for the 40 plus crowd, where we bring you expert insights on exercise, nutrition, and healthy habits, empowering you to make informed choices and create a personalized plan for success.
I hope you heard my attempt at your low DJ voice.
I did. And
I was trying really hard.
it's still a
But
work in progress, but one day we might be able to get that golden voice.
one day, one day. What's the topic of discussion today? It's home gym.
Yes, today we're going to be chatting about how to set up your own home gym.
This is something that I have thought about for quite a bit, especially during the whole COVID lockdown period. Yeah, I definitely thought about it for quite a bit. Have you ever entertained the idea?
I have. Growing up, I actually had a home gym at home.
Oh, okay.
It was a very old, rusty machine apparatus thing, like those multi ones. It's got all things around.
Yeah.
And then I had a bench with some barbells and weights, but I didn't have the I didn't have the place to rack the barbells. Once you're done with your bench press, you have to like roll the bar down your body and get up and then put it down. So these kind of things. That's why we ended up joining a proper gym after a while. But
I
yes, I
see.
did.
Oh wow.
How about
Yeah,
yourself?
all the way growing up, never actually had a home gym. When I grew up in a pretty big house. Was lucky enough for that, but we never actually got any exercise equipment. So what I did was I improvised my own home gym because my dad had the book, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia. Yeah, so I
As
used
you should
that,
have. Every guy should
as
have.
everybody does. And then what I did was, because our house had a lot of fire extinguishers,
Oh,
so what I would do is I would tie the fire extinguishers together, and then I would use them as weights.
wow, so
Do
creative.
like curls, I'll do like overhead extensions. I'll just try to copy whatever I could copy in the book. And I'll try to figure it out, like how to do rows with those. I'll stand on two stools so that there'll be enough space, fire extinguishers won't be hitting the ground, that kind of stuff. So it was an exercise in imagination and innovation, I suppose.
And you never set any of them off, I hope.
No, I mean they're very, very steady, very inert, unless you press the thing, right? Like you press the
Yeah.
lever and you let it full force come out. But yeah, I mean that was my experience with home gyms. And then after that, I was just training at for a period of time at my friend's condo gym, and then it evolved to my school, in junior college, my school's gym itself, and eventually a community gym.
Okay.
That's always been my whole journey. But the idea of creating a home gym has always kind of been in my head. I think when I was younger, I'll be honest, I think when I was younger, it was a lot more appealing. But now having gone through COVID, having actually bought dumbbells in a incline bench and stuff like this to train at home during COVID, I'm less warm to the idea now of having a home gym.
Okay. But I
Yeah.
suppose with working out, right, there's always some sense
Hmm.
of sociability that comes into play. Like even if you're just seeing other people, you don't necessarily need to engage with them. But I don't know, there's just that element. Like if you're working out by yourself all the time, motivation after a while, unless you're like a serious type A person, um,
Hmm.
I find dwindles a little bit.
For sure. For
Mm.
sure. And I think one thing about it is that for us, maybe for us from the perspective of we are going to the gym. And the gym is like a place for us to de-stress. It's more than just a place to get stronger and all that sort of good stuff,
Yeah.
and from a health perspective and all that, but it's also a place for us to de-stress. And so doing it at home is, we are no longer like going to that place, because it's also overlapping with the home is my domain to relax. And for me, that mental shift was very challenging, especially during COVID, where I had to work out in the same space that I was also kind of doing my work, on the computer, and just generally just chilling out at home the whole day.
Mm.
So it helps me shift that mindset when I can walk over to the gym and say, I'm heading into the workout, I'm going to that place, and then my purpose here is different. It's so much more focused. And like you said, the social element, it's nice. You have other people there pushing themselves as well. It's great. It's a very um subconscious environmental thing where it kind of
Yeah.
helps you. Yeah, not that you are like actively going there to maybe meet up with people. I mean, maybe you are, maybe who knows, right? If you like the social element to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why I haven't been so warm to the idea of like home gyms. But I mean, again, our topic today is about how to set up the best home gym. So let's say if we had to set up a home gym, what are things to consider, especially if you're like a beginner, if you don't really have the um access to like a main gym that's convenient. It could be, a logistics issue, could be a scheduling issue, all these sort of things, right? So what are the things that you will need to consider if you're trying to set up your home gym? I think that's the main thing for today.
I think maybe we could break it up into maybe two or three categories,
Mm,
um, because like you get the person who just wants to do the gym just to get a bit healthy, right?
yes.
Get the movement, get a bit healthy. Then you get people that also want to do the home gym, but like you say, you got the Arnold Schwarzenegger book on the coffee table. So you bought your dumbbells or whatever you want to you got, and you want to build your body. So do
Yeah.
an element of bodybuilding.
Yes.
And then I think the third one we probably look at is there's different budgets that people have. So there's maybe a like a starter gym. Maybe the people just want to what's the basics that they can get away with, get the maximum workout from the minimum spend. And then there's the other
Mm.
one. Maybe later on we can actually discuss and you can say, what is your actual dream home setup? If you
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
unlimited cash,
That would
what
be
would you
cool.
do?
Yeah,
So we
that
can
would
look
be
at it
cool.
from those three perspectives as we work our way through it. And probably the very first thing we can start off with is like location. Does location really make a difference as to where you set up your gym, your home gym?
Yeah, I think definitely it does. For the purposes of a home gym, I don't think like the specific floor, whatever, it's that, it's that important. Unless you're like trying to do really heavy deadlifts or you're trying to do like clean and jerks and stuff where you're going to drop tons of weight. Obviously, that's going to be a nuisance at home, and a nuisance to other people, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the space, like what you have available, that is probably the biggest consideration. Like some people are able to put aside one whole room for it. I know, I mean, like coming from Singapore, that's where I grew up. Most people stay in like a flat or an apartment, and there's often not that much room in the first place. So space considerations are probably a really big thing. Yeah, so you want to make the most out of very little space. So I think that's definitely something to consider. Like how much space do you actually have? Because the
Mm.
standard barbell is about 2.2 meters long,
Okay.
right? If you're going to go with like one of those, then you definitely need some clearance around that. And 2.2 meters is pretty long space already.
Yeah.
Um, and you need some clearance around that. So you definitely would need minimum like 3.2 meters, 3 meters or so, with just to be able to put in like a barbell. There are some other barbells that, they are a bit shorter. You could purchase them for home, but again, same thing, right? Like, you still would need a substantial amount of space because they might only be about 1.8 meters, not that much shorter. Manageable, but not that much shorter. So yeah, so I think the first thing about space is the first, like you want to put aside that and say, what is this real space that I can use for this gym? And then go from there. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think this would probably be debatable or depend on each person. But for me, I'm a very compartmentalized person. So
Mm,
like in my place, I have one designated room for my office. So
yeah,
that's all it is. So I know when I go into that room, I'm going into work mode and I'm going to go and do work.
yeah.
So I have a similar kind of thing when I think of my workout, like during the pandemic as well. Then we actually set up a certain area specific for that. I mean, we didn't have a fully kitted out gym, but we had some
Yeah,
dumbbells. And then we
yeah.
had a specific place that we would always go and do this. So the place that we chose is one like you're putting out is um it's got the what to say the space as you're pointing out. But the second part that I also try to make sure of is ventilation.
Mm,
I try to make sure that the place that I had, I've got a big sliding door that I can open and that can let in a lot of the breeze, especially living in Southeast Asia. It comes
yeah.
in handy. So those are the things that I always look at. And then I know that when I'm going into that space, it's similar like when you were saying earlier, when you go to the gym, your mindset shifts
Yeah.
and you know you're coming to work out. It was the same with that kind of space. So when I look at, okay, where do I want to put this location of my home gym? I take that into account and I say, okay, so this is a particular room that I'm focusing on. Or I could even say is this is my outside area. Maybe I put it under a I don't know, a roof or something outside.
Mm.
But it's outside and it's ventilated, it's space. I can go crazy there. Don't The neighbors won't kill me if I'm blasting my music or or whatever else I need in my
Yeah.
home gym. So
Yeah.
location is quite important. But I also try to make sure that it's not really such a shared space. So that the weights and everything that I take is all out of the way. Not necessarily that people have to climb over and everything, trying to get around the place.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. To be honest though, I think a lot of people don't actually have the luxury of really choosing the space. They probably have like a spare room or their work room, and maybe they might need to just use that little corner of their work room,
Mm,
right?
that's true.
Um, yeah. So I think with that in mind, probably the next thing we want to go through is what are the equipment pieces that will make sense for somebody to have.
Yeah,
If you're a beginner, and this will actually, in my opinion, this will actually cover whether you're a beginner or whether you're actually even more advanced. Yeah. So the most important thing I would say, first of all, is to get a pair of dumbbells. Like with a pair of dumbbells, you can do a lot of different exercises already. You pretty much cover 30 to 50% of all the exercises that you could possibly do. Machines notwithstanding for sure, but you'll be able to cover the entire body. And I think that's really what matters, right? Because when you're trying to exercise, you want to make sure you're hitting all the different body parts. So that's that. A couple of dumbbells doesn't take up a ton of space. And the best thing is right now especially from COVID, there were a large boom of these adjustable style dumbbells where you kind of put them into, they're like little plates that are slotted onto a handle, and then you can put them into the holder, and you can flick the knob or a little like lever or whatever it is, whatever the mechanism is for that particular set, and it would select, let's say if you want like 10 kilos, it will select the correct amount of weight, and then you'll be able to have 10 kilos, you can put it back in, swap it again, and then you get a different weight. So these adjustable dumbbells I think are really, really good tool. Yeah.
that certainly makes things easier compared
Oh,
to
for
the
sure.
old days
Because
having to change every time.
yeah, the old school one is where you have to slot it on to the actual metal handle, and then you've turned the little holder in place, right?
That's
Uh,
right.
Holder in place. So it's that's tough. That's the most annoying. But these ones with adjustable dumbbells, I think that's the first thing you need to get. And when we think about equipment, we also want to think about like what are the array of exercise that we can do, because we're trying to maximize value for the amount that we are putting in and the space. So dumbbells, like I said, allow you to do so many things, right? You can overhead press, you can lie down on the floor, you can do floor presses, you kind of get your chest, can get your triceps, you can do like extensions for triceps, bicep curls, you can hold the weights, squat down, lunge, you can cover your lower body, you can do deadlifts, any deadlift variations as well, shoulder work. You can do so many things. You can for ab work, you can do like twists, sitting on the floor, you can do sit-ups. So with just a pair of dumbbells, you can already do so much. So if you can only spare money for one piece of essential equipment, it would be a pair of adjustable dumbbells. I think most of them set you back, depending on the maximum weight that it will be. Most of them will set you back something like maybe $150 a piece, so $300, on average.
That's
If you
Sing
get the big
dollars.
ones, yeah, if you get the big ones like I did, during COVID, I got ones that went up to about 45 kilos. Yeah. So each one is 45 kilos. So
Mm,
that one costs a little bit more. It was like $600, I think. I got it at a pretty good deal. I think it was like 550 maybe, something like that. Yeah.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you don't have to go to 45 kilos for sure, but there are different options. I've seen the most common to be going up to 10 or 12 kilos, going up to 20 to 24 kilos. And I'm talking about like per dumbbell.
Mm.
And then there are some of those, on the bigger end, maybe 32 kilos or so. I think one of the main reasons also is these dumbbells tend to be all manufactured roughly around from the same places. Most of them are usually China made. Maybe some are like made in India, and they all often use very similar molds. So they often end up being around the same denominations anyway. Yeah, a pair of dumbbells.
So basically, you
That's
don't
my,
really have to
that's
look
my
at
thoughts on that.
brands or anything like that because they're all coming from the same place, really.
Yeah,
Likely
really,
coming from the same place.
I don't even know what the brand that I bought was, to be honest. But it was sturdy, it was good, felt good. Yeah. If anybody wants, to get a picture of it or wants to ask me a bit more, feel free to just drop me a message. Um, and you can reach us. We can always reach out to us again through the websites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing.
Okay, so we have
Um,
dumbbells.
Dumbbells.
All right.
The next thing I would say, and this is also like if you have the space for it. If you have the space for it, the next most valuable thing you could have is an adjustable bench. Okay, so because once you add in the adjustable bench, you suddenly add in a whole layer of other exercise that you could do. There's all bench related, you can do chest supported rolls, you could do all the kind of pressing variations with support now. Yeah, and you can do a whole different ton of exercise. You can do step ups on it, you can do step downs, all sorts of different things there. Yeah, you can even use the bench and do, more advanced core exercises. Example, like holding the back of the bench and then doing what they call like dragon flex, you raise your leg up, things like this. So there's a ton of stuff now that you unlock when you add in a adjustable bench. So 100%, I would say these two things, if you do these two things, you pretty much cover majority of the exercises. Anything else is really a bonus.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
there's also the growing, I don't know if it's a growing movement or if it's just that I came in late.
Hmm.
But there's the kettlebells. Are they
Hmm.
another option?
Definitely. And again, the perspective I gave is from that perspective of like unlocking as many different exercises as you can do from the equipment. If you're looking for super short, super simple workouts, I think kettlebells themselves have a lot of derivative workouts that you could do. However, a lot of the exercises are somewhat repetitive, which is totally fine. And I think kettlebells are a great option in the sense that you can they don't take up a lot of space, and then you can do all these kind of like really quick, simple kettlebell workouts. Like again, if you're not looking to like build a ton of muscle or whatever it is, it's just general lifting for health to keep your joints healthy, build up some decent strength, build up some decent conditioning and fitness. Then yeah, kettlebells would be a good idea as well. The only downside to kettlebells, in my opinion, is that most of them are not loadable, or you can't adjust the weight on the kettlebell, so you're kind of
Mm.
stuck. So you buy an 8 kilo kettlebell, you're stuck with the 8 kilo kettlebell. And it might be too light for some exercise, it might be too heavy for other exercises.
Yeah.
So now you're
Yeah.
limited. You can't change the weight. That's the big downside to it. And to me, that's a deal breaker if you're looking at maximizing the number of like, exercise that you can do. And then you buy one kettlebell, you probably need to get two, so that if you wanted to do like both exercises that require both arms. Yeah. So again, it really depends what you're comfortable with or what type of exercise and workouts you want to do. I think the cool part about it is that you could actually substitute like their basic exercises that kettlebells are usually famous for. Swings is the big one.
Yep.
And then Turkish get-ups is another one,
Yep.
right? And then there's also snatches or cleans with the kettlebell. I think these are all things you could do anyway with a dumbbell. So but the dumbbell has so many other options and versatility compared to the kettlebell. So yeah. So in my opinion, a kettlebell is like it's nice to have if that's your thing and if there's something you really want to enjoy. Because there's this thing called kettlebell sports. People
Oh,
actually compete in this thing called kettlebell sports. So they have different categories, different events and stuff. So I can see the people buying kettlebells for that purpose. But
oh,
again, it still comes down to the same thing where you would need to upgrade your kettlebells and have a wide range of kettlebell weights to suit the various exercises that you're doing or the different setups of the exercise that you're doing. And that will also mean you need more space just to store all these kettlebells versus
Mm.
like two pairs of dumbbells. Oh, sorry, one pair of dumbbells with adjustables, and then maybe a bench that usually you can fold and you can stand it up against the wall.
And I suppose the kettlebell will come in cheaper when you buy it, right? But because it's not extensible,
Yeah,
ultimately at the
then
end
it
of the
becomes
day,
more
the
expensive.
dumbbells are going to work out cheaper.
Definitely, yeah. Again, it's a value for money thing. If you think about what exercise I can do with this one kettlebell, effectively, then yeah, the dumbbells definitely will beat that because the amount of exercise you can do will be so much more.
The other equipment that we usually see in most general home gyms are things like treadmills.
Oh yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
that's that's a space thing, man. Uh, I would definitely not recommend a treadmill at home unless number one, you have the space and you are actively going to use it. I do think there's an alternative to that. There's this thing called a walking pad that you could get, which some of my clients do get, and it's essentially a very small treadmill. You know, it's not meant to help you run or anything. It's just meant to help you clock your steps. So you can stand on it, you can do work, conduct meetings while walking on it at a very slow, nice, slow, gentle pace. You know, it doesn't go up very fast. That's probably an option. The other alternative, I would say, is you could get maybe some sort of a bike, a stationary bike. I think that will make a lot more sense. The main reason being, like, if you get a treadmill, you probably could go out for a walk anyway. And that will probably do you a lot better. It doubles up on a lot more fronts, in the sense of if you go out for a walk, at least you get, some nice fresh air. You're seeing a bunch of scenery. It's nice and it's a nice experience as opposed to just walking on a treadmill. You could go to a gym to do that, right? Uh, and then the benefits of that is probably going to be like multiplied up if you go and walk outside. If you're looking at cardio equipment, I've known some people to just get like a bike and then they do spinning at home and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. Again, if you like spinning and that's your way of keeping in shape or just getting your fitness up, that's also a really good option. Okay, but it's not the best for obviously strength development and things like this. But if you're already relatively fit and that's the thing that you like to do, you probably can maintain very well doing that. Yeah.
And
And the
then the
bike
other
would
one is
definitely be something that I think a bike would definitely be something that is more useful than a treadmill because while you can ride a bike outside, it doesn't actually have the same level of resistance as and consistency as you would at home. Yeah.
oh,
So that's what that's what I think. It's a space thing, right? You know,
yeah.
because cardio can always be done outside easily, but weights, you either need to go to a specific place or I need to have the correct equipment.
Well, as someone who's done cycling and done a spin class, I can wholeheartedly agree with you that it's not the same thing.
Yes.
The spin
Yes.
class is just crazy. I almost
Yeah, a spin
died.
class is a totally different animal, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the other one is obviously and also again space dependent is the rowing machine, right?
oh yeah, yeah. I think they make those such that they're able to like kind of stand up to be like space
Yeah.
saving. Um, I think the rowing machine is unique enough that it is something you could add in if you did have that extra space and you don't mind the extra budget because rowing machines are expensive. I think on the lower end, most of them are at least $1,000.
Cool.
You can probably try to find a second hand one, maybe $800 or $600. You get like one of those old Concept 2 rollers or something.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, on in general, if you're going to buy one, it's probably going to run you more than $1,000.
So again, there's all space and budget dependent.
That one is
Where
space and budget
coming
dependent.
back to
Yeah.
what you originally said is that the dumbbells probably still seem to be
Yeah.
the most cost efficient.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you could, let's say if you wanted to do some sort of cardio, again, this is not very effective, but it's still at least measurable or comparable to like cardio forms where you do like dumbbell complexes, which is basically you do a bunch of different dumbbell exercises strung together, using one set of dumbbells. So there are little like things you could do to kind of replicate moderately some other spectrums of fitness traits you're trying to explore, aside from just the basic, building muscle and improving your strength stuff. Yeah, and you can do that with dumbbells. So I know I'm sounding super biased here, but really when you look at it objectively, I cannot think of the pros of other things really exceeding that of a simple pair of adjustable dumbbells.
Okay. So I think that when we spoke earlier, we said that we also want to cover cost-saving tips, right?
Yes.
So let's say I don't have the $500 to go spend on the dumbbells. What are some alternatives that I have while I save up for that?
Oh, do you mean like
Do I go and
um
use fire extinguishers?
well, you could do what I did, right? String the fire extinguisher together. To be honest, you could easily just do body weight stuff, right? And here's what I recommend. It might not be the most convenient because body weight stuff, I would always say you might need to find like a space where or fitness corner where they have like pull-up bars. If they have dip bars, even better. I know Singapore has a lot of these kind of like fitness corners, right? In the neighborhood. So you can actually kind of go there to get in a workout as well. One thing you could do, especially if you're a beginner, you can't do push-ups, you can't do pull-ups and stuff. One thing you could do is you could buy a pair of bands. Okay, and you can use that bands, you bring them to the fitness corner, you can string them up to the pull-up bar and use that as assistance, to get started with it. Some of the fitness corners, they also have like incline pull-up bar.
Mhm.
So it's lower down around waist height, and then you hold on to that, you have your feet out on the floor, and then you pull yourself up. You can get away with doing very simple things like this. So pull-ups, push-ups, that kind of covers your upper body. And then for lower body, you can do, there's basic squats, single leg squats, and I'm sure if you type in calisthenics or you go to YouTube calisthenic workouts, you'll find some of these like calisthenic strength workouts that you can do with just body weight. So literally budget saving, you could already start with that. Like it's free, right? And then you can add, if you need a bit of assistance, maybe you spend an additional $50 on a couple of different bands. But other than that, I don't think yeah, like you can't really beat that already. The next option up to that though, I do think is, especially if you're a rank beginner, so like you really have no strength, maybe you're really overweight, you can barely do a pull-up. Let's say you're around that kind of weight range, right? A good body weight alternative would be this thing called a suspension trainer. The most popular one is called the TRX. I think
Ah,
that was
okay.
popularize it. So you've seen this yellow and black thing with
Yep.
handles. You
Yep.
hook it up, and it's like essentially two handles. It almost looks like gymnastic rings to some degree. You could also buy a pair of gymnastic rings, but I think that there are some certain differences between the two that it's a bit hard to kind of explain because it's to do with like the way they're anchored. Like gymnastic rings tend to be anchored on two different points. The
Yep.
TRX tends to be anchored to one point, both handles. So there's a little bit of differences in there. But this is something to explore. Like you select a TRX suspension trainer, you could go onto the websites, search for one, and then yeah, you could bring it to the fitness corner, hook it up to a pull-up bar, and you can do a whole bunch of different cool stuff already. So plenty of things you can do in that way. I think a suspension trainer probably only puts you back at the most $200 at the most. I'm sure
Okay.
there's cheaper than that, like $120 or something.
All right. And then this one is you have to drill a hole to hook it up, or do you need an actual
Oh,
bar to
that's if
hook
you
it
want to
onto?
do it.
Yeah.
So what I understand is that they have this version where you can actually hook it up to your door. So there's no modification necessary. You don't have to drill your door or anything, but you can put it like where this little stopper beanbag thing, you put it on over the top of your door and you close the door, and it kind of like lodges against the door and the top part of the door frame, and it holds you in place there. Now, this is obviously subject to the quality of your house building
And the weight of your
construction.
self.
Yeah, to the construction of your house.
Yeah.
I'm not like, obviously there's a disclaimer there. If you don't have very sturdy doors or very good frame to the doors, it might not be the best option. And if you are particularly overweight, yes, even more so, right? So find like a pull-up bar. You can go to the pull-up bar and you can hook it up there. I think it makes a lot more sense that way.
Mm. Okay.
If you do have a like uh, a very solid wall where you can drill into it and it will anchor well, you could do that option as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So a TRX trainer, I think that's like if you can't afford a pair of dumbbells or you don't really want to get a pair of dumbbells, a TRX trainer is something that's super, space efficient, cost friendly, very beginner friendly as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds like very good options that people can use.
for
So
sure.
first option really, if it's within your budget and within your space, and is the dumbbells. TRX is
Dumbbells,
a good
adjustable bench.
substitute. Kettlebells is another substitute, but maybe a bit further back.
Yeah.
And then
Unless you're
obviously
just
if you're
content
really, really
with,
starting at body weight, you can still go do calisthenics.
yeah, correct.
Okay. I think we've reached to the section now where you can really unleash your creativity and let us know what
What's
is
the
your
ideal,
dream
right?
setup.
Yeah, man. What is the ideal? To be honest, for me, what I would want in my own home gym, right? I've thought about this many times. And for me, the space would be like about one garage car space. You
Oh,
know, so right now I'm in Sydney, so obviously I have the luxury of like, oh, I want to buy a house here. At least there is going to be a garage. If I can get a two-car garage, that'll be even better. Then I could really dream about having that that home gym. But in that space, what I would probably try to fit in is a Smith machine. Okay, one of those Smith machines with the cable stacks on equipped on them as well. So they kind of save a lot of space. You can do a lot of the cable machine stuff. We would have the Smith machine on it already, which is the barbell on the guiding tracks. And then they would also usually have like hooks where you can put on J hooks and you can put a regular barbell on there as well. So I could do free weight barbell stuff. So that already covers the same space footprint, but you have a regular power rack. You have a not power rack, but you have a regular like barbell rack, and then you have a Smith machine and you have the cables. So that covers a lot of things. And then what that's missing is that for me it's usually the lower body stuff where there are very specific machines that I like. So some sort of a leg press, some sort of leg press machine. I probably would, because I can already do kind of like a hack squat on the Smith machine. I probably would go for like a proper 45-degree leg press machine. That's probably what I would get. And then I would get like a combo leg extension, leg curl kind of machine as well. Something where I could load some plates, I could do leg extensions, and then I could adjust the settings a little bit and turn it into some sort of a leg curl machine. Yeah, so definitely want to cover those things as well, right? And then a adjustable pair of dumbbells, a adjustable bench. I think pretty much I am solid already.
the Smith
Maybe if
machine.
I if there was no, sorry, maybe if there was still a bit more space, I might get one of those like pull down, plate loaded pull down machines. Just so that, because with those pull down machines, I could angle myself to either make it into like almost like a roll variation, or I could do them a bit more upright. I could turn them into like a pull down variation. And those will allow me to load things up pretty well. Because if I only depend on the stack weight, the cable stuff, it probably will not reach like enough weight, because most of these stack weights do not have a substantial amount of weight on them.
Hmm.
They're more for the isolation stuff. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what I would say. Yeah, because that will cover all my needs completely.
I see. Interesting. So it's quite a basic setup, really. Very practical.
Yeah, because we are still trying to work within a small space.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
yeah.
know. When I think about dream setups, I always fall back to these YouTube videos I've been watching lately of The Rock's workout at home. That home gym
Oh,
of his is, wow, I think it beats a lot of commercial gyms that I've been to.
oh, for sure, for sure.
But yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I,
having
I give I give you a very realistic dream setup. I mean, if you're really talking about dream setup, then I would say, yeah, like something like what The Rock has. Yeah.
maybe he can donate. You don't know. Maybe
Let's
he
keep it.
listens to our podcast and can donate one of them to
Maybe.
us.
Maybe. No, if we were talking about that, I would just say like, my current gym with a few more equipment pieces, and like that's it. That's my dream setup, and I have that. I own that. But the truth is, unless it is logistically difficult for you to get to a gym, um, I think that's usually the biggest factor, right? Like if you have to really travel very far just to get to the gym, it's a lot of commuting time, and then you don't have enough time to kind of work out, and everything kind of you add everything up, it's like 2 hours, right? Commuting to and fro, getting a workout in and stuff. So it's yeah, it's always good to put into context and really think about what do you actually need at this season of your life?
Yep.
What's the constraints that you're dealing with? And then it's much easier to make that decision. With regards to the home gym, I don't think you can go wrong with a pair of adjustable dumbbells. again, it's sounding like a broken record here, but that plus an adjustable bench, yeah, like you can do so many exercises already.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that you made very valid points there is that home gyms is really it's something it's another tool in your toolbox that you have when it comes to your fitness journey. So like we were touching on walking pads and treadmills and things like that. For
Hmm.
people like I have a friend who lives in Europe and he's always telling me about how terrible the weather is there.
Yeah.
And he'll send me photos and say, look at the blue sky. And it's like, oh, it's your one day of blue sky a year, is it? And he's like, oh, yes, we're enjoying this so much immensely. So for them, it's like,
Is he in the
it's
UK or is he Irish?
uh, Irish.
Yeah, I reckon that's their weather, man.
Yeah. So this comes into play as like a treadmill will help quite nice here. You know, maybe all those
Hmm.
days that you can't go out for your walk, can't go out for your run, you know,
But
if you have the space for it, by all means, you can go for the run on the treadmill.
yeah,
But
definitely.
for other people, you know, like you say you live in Sydney and that. Um, I mean, you're obviously a little bit out of the city center, but for those, you know, like if you're living at
I'm
Bondi
way out.
Beach,
I'm
you know
way
what
out
I
of the
mean?
city.
You're living
Yeah.
at Bondi Beach there. Like, who wants a treadmill when you can just go run
Yeah,
alongside the ocean
right.
and think of it?
Go by the Bondi Beach and I see all the sights and sounds
That's right.
and
That's right.
good weather,
Mm.
nice
So,
sea breeze and stuff.
correct. So it's coming back to look at a home gym is it's just another tool. It's not something, you know, like, oh, a must have because you've moved into a house or whatever, but it's a tool for you for your fitness journey. And if that's the right tool for your season, by all means, fantastic. Let's kit it out and let's get it working, depending on the
Yeah,
goals that you're looking to achieve.
yeah.
But other than that, I find it's still just a general gym membership is still a go-to for me.
Yeah, I hear this, I see this a lot on YouTube where sometimes people are talking about comparing, or even on forums, right, where people compare like, oh, what's the gym membership cost versus if you just do a home gym. So the usual argument is that a home gym, maybe it costs you like a proper home gym, right, full with the weights and everything, might
Yep.
set you back 2 grand or something, or 2 to 4 grand, let's say. But then you amortize that over the period of time that you have the home gym, every month, what's your gym membership like, and it all adds up, things like this. I think that's a decent argument, but in my experience, and this is purely anecdotal, also my friends' experience, all my other buddies, and all that are active gym rats that they like to go to the gym, all of those who have set up their own home gym eventually sold it.
Oh,
Most of them. Most of them. I would say especially over COVID, I had so many friends that actually set up their own home gym because obviously gyms were closed, right? They couldn't
yep.
get to. And so I easily like 10, easily 10 of them. And out of 10 of them, at this point in time, I would reckon 9 of them have sold all their equipment off, returned back to going to the gym. And I think a large part of that is just the same thing I was mentioning right at the start, which is, and what you mentioned also about compartmentalization. We go to the space and that environment triggers in us that focus into the task we're supposed to do, right?
Yep.
It means a different thing. And when you place that thing into your home, it becomes, I wouldn't say tainted, but it becomes muted down by the fact that your home is supposed to be this place of recreation and relaxation and, rest and recovery. I think a large part of that is what really plays into it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we've covered pretty much everything, and the choice is left to the people if they want to have the home gym or the commercial gym.
Yeah. And trust me, a commercial gym is actually probably cheaper. And something like I don't own any Anytime Fitness or anything, but I'm not affiliated with them. But honestly, I think the Anytime Fitness model is probably one of the best models that I've seen. There's a lot of like other little copycats types of franchises, right? But Anytime so far seems to be the cheapest from what I've seen. I've been using Anytime Fitness membership. I've been going, every time I travel, because I travel quite a bit, right? Singapore, Sydney,
Yep.
back and forth. And if I go to other countries, I always use my Anytime Fitness membership. So I have a gym available to me everywhere I go. Like how can you beat that? And I'm only paying like 100, at the most $100 a month. How can you beat that, right? Like that's such a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine carting your home gym with you as you, you travel
Well,
between Singapore and
not all
Australia.
of us are the Rock, right? So only
But
the
then again,
Rock
you
would
might
do
just
that.
take your TRX band, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So,
most of my clients when they travel, TRX band, it's probably what they use.
hmm. Okay, awesome. I think that's covering everything. Any
All
closing
right.
thoughts? All good?
No, we're all good. I think everybody knows where to find us. Click the links, click the website, click this, click that. Just kind of drop us a message, comment something at the end of the Spotify itself. And then we'll reach out. You know,
Yeah.
we'll reply and stuff. We are still at a stage where we can definitely reply to you all. So I think might as well take advantage of that.
Yeah. We still have our 7 followers.
I think at this point, right, where we are recording this is seven followers.
7 followers.
It's
So
funny these days.
so yeah, so we'll appreciate a follow or a share if you find this useful. Share with your
Yes,
friends.
please. And also just share this out. Share the link. I think Spotify has a little thing you can press as well.
That's right. All right. So for that, we'll catch you all in the next episode.
All right. See you guys. Thanks, Mike.
See ya.